Yo, it's definitely the Cloud Chaser TV, man.
In part 1 of this case, we learned from Robert Ross, also known as Studdabox, a Main Street Mafia Crip, and Wack 100's introduction into the case, that Wack 100 or CS2Back's house got raided for getting caught on a wiretap on a conspiracy to commit murder, which he never went to prison for according to the paperwork.
So on the video, when you said something about conspiracy to murder, what actually did you hear on audio of Wack 100 that the feds had?
His house got raided because he was on the wiretap. He allegedly gave Dog my address, homie. If I get killed, whoever gave him my address gonna get conspiracy to murder. But if I don't get killed, they can get conspiracy to attempted murder because they shot up my Rolls Royce, put 17 holes in my Rolls Royce.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, though, Box. Help me understand this, because me and you both know that whole case was your thing. What is Mark saying I had to do with the case, bro?
Right, listen, in the paperwork, it said you tried to call Dog, remember?
I tried to
and he
call
won't take
Dog.
your call. And I sent it to you because they said when Dog called you, his phone was hit. That's how they got on your line.
No.
That's what they say, what?
No.
As you can see by now in this first part, Studdabox clearly implicates Wack 100 into this case, not only in an interview with Duse M's and Stats 280, but also right to Wack's face on the recorded phone call. In part 2, we saw Duse M's break down the paperwork with the transcript on which Wack 100 or CS2Back was caught red-handed as a confidential informant for the FBI, with detailed corroborating evidence and paperwork that leaves no doubt that Wack 100 is in fact confidential source number 2 or CS2Back.
The paperwork is a transcript of a wiretap. And once I get into this paperwork, you're going to understand that Back was one of the names that the feds used for confidential source number 2. So Back Wack also says CS2 Back. CS2, for those who don't understand law, is code word for confidential source. Wack 100 being on a wiretap talking about conspiracy to murder. That holds the same exact time as a murder, a life sentence. And if that's what you on wiretap for, and if that's what they came for you for, then how you out of jail?
In part 3, Duse M's and Stats 280 speak exclusively with the last key remaining character in this case, and the person Wack 100 directly calls on the wiretap according to the paperwork, Money Mark Stevens. In this bombshell interview, Shaq's business manager Mark Stevens exposes Wack 100 aka Cash Jones, the former Death Row affiliate and Pacoima Piru blood, as a confidential informant for the FBI.
What's going on? I'm here.
You got Mark Stevens on, and
Okay.
hey Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you. Salute Mark Stevens. This Stats 280. Salute everybody. Salute.
Yes, sir.
So you was cool with him from the beginning, even negotiated on some business as he.
Yeah, I met him. I met him with Studdabox. I met him with the homie Studdabox. That's how I first came to meet Wack, was through the homie Studdabox, right? When I met him, dude was driving trucks, seemed to be cool. Box was like, yo, this was his neighbor across the street. He seemed to be cool. When Studdabox defected, Wack picked up the phone and was basically being the interim, the middleman, because he was telling me Studdabox was defected, and I was like, okay, but my whole thing is, if he defected, why are you fucking with him?
Right. So he says that Studdabox defected, and then you get some phone calls asking to speak to someone else, right?
Yeah, he called me. He called me, man. It was, man, a series of calls, 4 or 5 calls. He wanted to reach out to the homie, rest in peace, Dale Dog. And right. I don't give out nobody math, so I called the homie, Dale Dog. I'm like, yo, homie, you want to holler at this dude or what? Because he keep calling me, and he was like, nah, I'm good on that. I don't want to holler at dude.
So at some point, you get a phone call from Wack 100, Cash Jones. And when he contact you, what did he contact you concerning?
He wanted to reach out to Dale Dog, rest in peace. And he wanted to give Dale Dog some information that he had gotten from Studdabox, right? He was It's like he was getting information from Stutterbox on what his plan was and what the get down was gonna be, and he wanted to talk to the homie and talk to him. And Dog wasn't getting on the line with him, and he kept blowing me up because he wanted me to get him on the line.
Smart man. Rest in peace to Del Dog, man. So he's talking about the phones is being compromised. Is that one of the things that he told you?
Well, the homie Del Dog never trusted Dude. You follow me?
Right.
So Dog didn't know was the lines compromised or was they wired up for sound or not. He just wasn't gonna chance it. You follow me?
Right.
But it was later on. It was later on after they took the case to they was taking it all away because the homie ain't had no choice. You know, he was facing a life sentence, so he had to take it all away. And with all the lawyers that was involved, they was able to get the discovery, and that's when we found out that the lines was compromised.
And as soon when you get the discovery, was part of that the actual wiretap
the whole transcript. I got the whole transcript. The whole transcripts of the whole wiretaps.
And
Everything.
do you, in that paperwork, do you see your conversation with Cass Jones in them transcripts?
That was the initiating. That was the initiating when they started recording.
Right. And how did they refer to Cass Jones?
In the paperwork they put him as the paperwork they put him as Back, BACK. And
correct.
I kept asking the lawyer, like, who the fuck is? I ain't talked to no Back. And they said, nah, that's Wack. But they put him as Back because he a blood, so it's Back. And I said, oh, okay.
And was this Back also referred as confidential source number 2?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Well, man, I'm glad that the truth was able to come out. And it's sad.
But bigger than that, homie, right? I watched Dude, man. He said some things about the big homie Shaq, that wasn't true. He said some things like he been trying to destroy the big homie Big U name. And I'm seeing and watching this, and I called the big homie U. We was talking. I said, yo, when you get into Atlanta, man, come see me. Because I had what I had for years. And when I gave it to the homie, I said, man, you read it. Because it was a big-ass textbook of shit. And the homie just sided with what was right. He said, I can't fuck with Dude no more. And that was the end of that.
Until Wack started attacking, and that's when Wack started attacking him with false allegations and all of this online weird shit, right?
Correct, because the homie Big U asked me why I didn't fuck with the nigga, and I said, when you pull up, I'm gonna show you. I want you to read it. And when he read it, he was like, oh, okay, I see why you don't fuck with the nigga. I can't fuck with the nigga. And that was it.
Wait, how long was it from when you first got it that you met you in Atlanta to show him the work?
I got the paperwork from the attorneys probably in, I want to say 12 or 13, because it was a series of, remember the incident happened in 06, 07, but Box had went to prison. He called a drug case, so he went to prison, and they waited to almost the last month of the statute of limitations to go get the homies from Main Street.
Right. So
it had been about a 5-year period from the time that had happened to the time that they came and got the big homies. And then once how
did you feel about you waiting that long now?
Well, he chastised me, and I never, one of the things, bro, and it's like it's the slippery slope, as people say, right? Like, on one end, Wack, the nigga, he wasn't doing no harm, right? He was just trying to move around and be the tough guy. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? My whole thing is, okay, that's what you want to do, cool. But then it went from that to I heard what he was saying about the big homie Shaq, and then I heard what he said about Big U, and that's when I picked up the phone. I said, hey, you, man, I want you to read something, man. And then once you read it, once you know, you know. That's Quran. That's the Holy Quran. Once you know, you know. You're accountable for what you know. And when he read it, he said, okay, I see why you don't fuck with dude. I can't fuck with dude. And that was it. Let me tell you something, man. I probably haven't seen nor talked to Wack in years, you know. And, you know, I wish everybody success and happiness, but not on the basis of lies.
Right.
You know,
And
not on the...
and really indicative of your character, Mark, because you have a whole campaign publicly of a brother that's heavy in our community positively, helping get these kids graduated from school and into football and all of these other positive things. And he smutting his name through the mud just because he decided not to deal with it.
And brother, well put. Look, I call the homie Big U all the time. I call him the naked truth. And he always be like, why you call me the naked truth? I said, because Wack is the well-dressed lie.
Bitch, I'm naked right now.
You know, it's an old parable about truth and lie went swimming. And, you know, lie jumped out the water and put on truth clothes. So you had a well-dressed lie, but then truth got out the water and it was naked. So you got the naked truth that's trying to run down a well-dressed lie. Feel what I'm saying? Throw a rock and hide his hand.
Right. That's a familiar tactic that he used. But we needed to get the truth where truth appears, falsehood disappears, man. And I wanted to hear that for myself, man.
Man, hey, man, I appreciate you, man. And, you know, God bless. But like I said, man, you know, it's a lot of things is just a well-dressed lie. That's all I can say.
Right. And that's what Cass Jones is. He is the well-dressed lie.
Yeah, and Big U is the naked truth. You know, it is what it is. He always stood on the side of truth. He ain't never wavered from that. From the time I gave him that paperwork, I watched him take assault after assault because he just did the right thing. He just said, I can't fuck with you.
And I'm so glad that he ain't responded publicly to these negative lies because he's above that shit. Let him stay low and you just stay high. Don't let this man trick you up off the street or the feeling like you got to address every lie he makes up every day.
Well, and then you got to understand, too, bro, it's, you know, like I told you about throwing a rock and hiding your hand. You know, what's the motive for throwing the rock to begin with? Like, we know the rocks is being thrown, but what's the motive? Like, you know, like, only thing I saw the homie Big U do, put out a great documentary on hip-hop. I see him, man, putting these kids through college and sending them, like, I'm trying to understand what's the motive, or it's a motive that we can't comprehend because we don't think on those levels. You feel me?
Hey, that's perfectly said. And I'm going to tell you this, in all of my life, being from the community of South Central Los Angeles, only time I ever heard of a public artificial dissemination of disinformation was through COINTELPRO and J. Edgar Hoover, man. And I'm just gonna drop that jewel and let you go, man.
Man, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good day, man.
Likewise, kid.
All right, Salam alaikum.
Wack 100, who built his metaverse career by arguing about snitches and paperwork, has himself been exposed as a confidential informant for the FBI, according to paperwork and first-hand witnesses. When you look at the paperwork and talk with the individuals directly involved in this Main Street Mafia Crip case, it becomes abundantly clear that Wack 100, the former Death Row affiliate, and Pacoima Pai Ru Blood, was previously a confidential informant for the FBI,